Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and we had to come through, yo. What are we reviewing?
The Defenders.
Yeah, um, kind of like us two, but they need four members. We only need two. This this being the first episode called the H Word. I'm gonna come up. Is Yeah, this is the first episode we're reviewing, but we've seen others, and like for me, I found the episode like super slow. But now I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like watching it, I was thinking, yeah, it was fairly slow. But now I'm kind of thinking, really, isn't that much of an issue?
No, and it has to be. It's not. It's not a movie. It's a TV show, and these characters have all got to come together. You can't just like throw them in immediately. So you've got to set up, establish who they are. Remember, not everyone has seen everything. I mean, like, I'll say I've only seen one episode of Luke Cage, about half of Jessica Jones. So I don't know where they're at.
I watched all of them except for Luke Cage because I didn't really think it was my thing. It's interesting because every time he popped up, they had like the music, you know what I mean? No one else was really like music,
Yeah.
but every time he popped up, they flexed a sick beat and stuff like that. So I noticed that. I mean, where the characters are, I guess Murdock's kind of completely given up his daredevil persona. When we see him, is kind of like he's getting a kid off. No,
You might
no,
have
no,
finished.
no, no. Is getting a kid some fat cash for
He got
some.
like $11 million for some sort of settlement thing, right?
Yeah, so he's fighting a good fight, as it were. But to me, I feel like it's interesting. He's given up the daredevil persona, as it
hmm
were, but crime rates are still low. So it's like everyone's gone away, and like as soon as they've stopped doing what they're doing, like the crime rates drop. Because I think Karen was saying, so yeah, I guess I feel like his.
It is, but I think the idea was that he kind of helped that happen, though.
Mm,
It's kind of like he's instilled enough fear. It's like if Batman goes away from Gotham, they're not magically going to start committing crime again because the fear is still there.
mm.
Well, anyway, obviously, the longer he's gone, the more people are going to realise there's no Daredevil, and then crime will pick back up.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of giving it all up for Karen. If you know, he's made this bold statement because she obviously knows the truth and stuff like that, so he's given it up. But I feel like he hasn't gone to her like, oh yeah, I've given it up for you, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of really like, you know what I mean. He hasn't told the full story, and is kind of craving it. Jessica Jones, I guess she's kind of really fallen off the deep end. Everything that's happened with kind of her, she's kind of back to drinking and stuff like that. She's not PIing anymore. I guess all that she's done in her season that kind of bankrolled her to not do anything, because obviously her sister was like she was going on about it and stuff like, oh, when you're gonna go back to your PIing, and it's like whatever. And she's kind of super angry at what's the guy's name? You know, the boy who always comes to see her.
Oh, that guy, yeah, but I'm not sure she is angry. Isn't that their shtick? Like she said she doesn't want him around, but really she does.
I noticed he's got a haircut. Yeah,
She's just an angry person, isn't she?
yeah, with the whole spare key thing. I don't know. I was sitting there. I was kind of. I don't know. Normally it's kind of charming, but I felt it a little blunt. Whether that's reminiscent of the kind of place she is right now. It's interesting that we kind of fully started off the episode with Iron Fist. Obviously, we've got him rolling in straight up. In
Yeah, I wonder if that's a choice of, there's no getting away from it. People, myself included, didn't like that show, but maybe it's okay, here he is, get him out there and roll on with everything.
I think it's interesting as well because his series ended with him in Kunlun like staring because you know that it's hit the fan, and then we start off here and is what so he's just he went to Kunlun, he's been attacked by the Hand. So what? It's just U-turned and then just started going all over the place fighting the Hand. That's what it's appeared to have done. So there's an operative in Cambodia. I guess he goes to meet him, and Elektra comes along, and then does him in, and they're kind of, yeah. I think they were there to like sort him out, but it turns out he wasn't actually a bad guy, I guess, because Elektra kind of killed him beforehand, and he was dropping hints and stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting. Luke Cage, he's out of prison, and I guess everyone's all gassed off him, like the hero of Harlem. He's showing love, and the community is showing love, as it were. So yeah, I mean, is with Claire. They kind of make Whoopi real quick and stuff like that. Misty comes along, and then I mean, I kind of like how it's intertwined, because it kind of starts off with kind of real loose threads, if you know what I mean. What's happening in Harlem with all his boys, as it were, and they're kind of going off doing whatever, no one knows what it is, and they're starting to turn up dead, and there's a whole conspiracy there. And then you've got Jessica Jones, some woman and her kid roll up, and her husband's like vanished off the face of the earth, and it's kind of dismissed as a kind of he's pumping another woman, as it were. So yeah, you've kind of got that going on, and it's interesting to kind of see, you know, the connection there and what's popping. But I think underlying, because it's interesting, because there was a whole big conspiracy in Iron Fist that the Hand's operating in New York, and that was kind of like brushed off, if you know what I mean. But like, you know what I mean, I guess it's starting to swell up a bit. You got this Alexandra chick, we kind of don't know that much about her really, except she's kind of dying, and she has a nice coat.
Yeah, and she's Sigourney Weaver, which doesn't hurt.
So yeah, I mean, plot line, they're kind of doing their thing. I guess Danny Rand's kind of, it's interesting, because when he was flying back to New York, I guess he decides to go back to New York and is having night terrors or whatever with the Hand and stuff like that. Whether it was the Hand, because it was interesting, those kind of people, there's a lot of bodies and a lot of alive people, so it's interesting to kind of see where he is emotionally, I guess. He seems a lot more confident and more instilled now, you know what I mean, more focused, as it were, I guess.
Yeah, I'm still kind of angry.
Colleen still looks good. So yeah, I guess Matt Murdock's kind of doesn't really know what he wants to do in that sense. So it's kind of interesting. And then I guess Jessica Jones is like finding her, like she gets into the investigation, and it leads her to like a flat, which is very kind of detective-y, because really the first season of Jessica Jones wasn't at all, you know, she's like a PI and stuff like that, but there wasn't really much of that about. But I think her bit in this episode, I mean, her story so far is kind of really kind of focused on that, you know, she's digging her heels in and getting the work done. It's interesting because like Iron Fist, that was kind of real detective-y, because he was going around breaking into places and stuff like that, and like going through stuff, which is kind of what you'd expect her to be doing, but she wasn't.
It's interesting. She's the character that seems to be like the most in need of direction, the most in need of a goal in life. Luke Cage obviously wants to help the kids out in Harlem. Iron Fist bangs on about wanting to take down the Hand all the time, and Daredevil, even though he acts like he doesn't, we all know what he wants. He wants to be Daredevil, and he wants to have some sort of life with it, even though he probably can't. She's the one that seems like she's taken out the Purple Man, and now she doesn't know what to do. Yeah,
it's like someone needs to go to Matt Murdock and be like pat him on the back and be like, look, you can be Daredevil. Don't feel guilty, and then he'll be like, oh, okay, then if you insist. One of them things where you don't have to tell him twice. So that's kind of what he's about so far.
It does seem like it. It almost seems like he wants Karen or Foggy to say, just go be Daredevil, and he will.
I guess Karen's doing her stuff at the
Yeah, she's got. What's she work? Like a newspaper or something?
Yeah, she's super reporter now, so things are going well for her. So yeah, and then we kind of move to the end of the episode. You've got she kind of gets into the apartment. There's a bunch of C4 everywhere, and then like an earthquake goes off, and it's like, I wouldn't want to be in that room with all the C4 when the earthquake goes off. So it's kind of, that's like a big thing. It's interesting that like there's no kind of big. I'd like it, but I don't think it's like super relevant. Like there's been no references to the kind of greater MCU, if you know what I mean.
They always call it. They call it like the incident. The incident is a Qatari attack.
Yeah, it's interesting they don't bring it up. No talk of like other things going on. There's like big, massive, like world-changing things going on generally around New York, and no one ever mentions it. So I guess that's kind of. It's like, I don't know why. I don't in the kind of first Daredevil thing, you had talk of like Thor and stuff like that and all that stuff. So it's interesting why they seem like they're shying away, whether they want to be like, oh, we want it to stand on its own like apart from the MCU, although it's part of the MCU. But it's like, why like use buzzwords and stuff like that?
I don't know. I also imagine part of it is like a tonal thing. No, this is very dark and serious in the MCU, isn't that really? And they want to keep it separate. Technically, they're connected, but really they're not.
So yeah, big booky earthquake. What's going on? You got Matt flip out, and then on top of the building, and it kind of ends like that. So yeah, I mean, for me,
Luke Cage's lawyer, so I guess everything's going well for him right now. He's at Hogarth's law firm.
And he's had a haircut also.
Indeed.
So yeah, good catch there. Everyone's had haircuts while they've been away. Danny's hair looks good as well. It's got more product in it. It's less like,
Yeah, street bum.
Yeah. So I found it a little slow in the build up. I guess I liked some of the transitions were good. I like that. So yeah, it could be real. It's interesting that they'd be so severe and like end the episode with a quote unquote earthquake. I thought that was kind of interesting. You know what I mean? So yeah, numbers. I
don't know, 7.5, I guess. It's what I expected it to be. I didn't think there was going to be some big team up with him on episode. He got a set up where everything is.
Yeah. I guess this Alexandra, in terms of a villain and stuff like that, we don't know that much about. We've got a lot of interaction with Madame Gao and stuff like that. She seems like, it kind of seems like she's like super leader, or her and Madame Gao are on the same level, you know what I mean? Because you could always or seem like Madame Gao's like top dog, but she kind of seems on the level, if not a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that could be interesting.
She definitely seems higher. If she's not, you could maybe argue she's in charge of, I don't know, the American part of the hand.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll give it a solid 8. It's a bit of a slow burner and stuff like that, but I think when things can come together more without them having to be all together, if you know what I mean. Like things can get interconnected before they come together.
Yeah, which is what they are. They're setting a plot, and you can see where it goes.
Yeah.
I'm Matt.
I'm Sam, and we'll see you for the next episode of Defenders on the Superhero Hub.